They said the bunker had been abandoned for decades. Yet as we approached, the faint glow of lights flickered behind frost-coated windows. No humans had entered here in over 40 years. So who, or what, was keeping it alive? The snowstorm tore through the skeletal forest around us, blinding and relentless. Visibility was almost zero, the wind howling like a warning through frozen trees. Our boots crunched against the ice, every step magnified in the eerie silence between gusts. Breath plumed into the air, turning each exhale into a ghost. Half buried in snow and warped metal, the entrance emerged like a jagged wound in the earth. Rusted steel doors loomed, warning signs in Cyrillic barely hanging on. Ostorozno. Opasno dla жизни. Danger. Life-threatening. I traced my gloved fingers over the cold surface and felt it, a subtle vibration beneath the ice. The hum. Low, mechanical. Alive? Our engineer, Petrov, tapped the panel beside the door. Sparks jumped across exposed wires, the console flickering to life. Green digits blinked, counting down, though to what none of us knew. Silence fell. Even the storm seemed to pause, as if listening. Inside, the air was thick, stale with decades of dust and decay. Radiation meters clicked faintly, some at levels that shouldn't exist this far from the reactor. Desks lay toppled, papers yellowed, but some objects appeared deliberately untouched, almost reverently placed, as if the bunker itself wanted to remember. A flicker in the corner caught my eye. A shadow, or something moving too fast for the light to follow. Ramirez, our comms officer, whispered through the headset, "I'm picking up numbers," repeating, 1973, 1973, 1973. We moved deeper. Corridors sloped downward, almost imperceptibly at first, then unmistakably into darkness. Pipes lined the walls, some broken, some faintly humming, carrying a heat that didn't belong here. Each step echoed like a drumbeat, announcing our intrusion. Then we saw it. A massive steel door, reinforced, warnings peeling but legible. Project Aurora, access denied. Captain Ivanov approached, gloved hands brushing the icy metal. "No records of this project. Nothing in any archives," he muttered. A sudden flicker. The hum grew louder. Beneath the floor, faint but distinct. Footsteps. Not ours. Not recent. Yet recent enough to send shivers down the spine. Ramirez held up a Geiger counter. The needle jumped, then dropped. "Radiation. Like a heartbeat," he murmured. We pressed on. The door groaned as we forced it open. Darkness swallowed us, the beam of our flashlights carving trembling paths. Concrete walls glistened with condensation. The floor vibrated faintly underfoot. The hum became undeniable, mechanical, alive, impossible to ignore. The corridor split. One path led downward via a stairwell, the other stretched horizontally, pipes rattling ominously. Ivanov's expression hardened. Aurora was classified, off-limits. That's why it doesn't exist in any files. We have to see what's inside, but stay sharp. We chose the stairs. Each echoing step felt like a drumbeat of fate. Then, first sign of life. Not human, but undeniably present. A faint scuff, a dragging sound reverberating from below. Something, or someone, was moving, synchronized with the hum. At the bottom, a massive chamber revealed itself, dimly lit by flickering green lights. Steel catwalks crisscrossed overhead. Old machinery hummed faintly, powered by some unseen force. In the center, a cylindrical pod loomed, cables snaking into the walls like veins. A figure stirred inside. We thought it was a mannequin. Then its eyelids fluttered. Alive, but not human. At least, not entirely. Captain Ivanov whispered, "Genetic manipulation. Cybernetics. This could be why Aurora was hidden so deep, Mist hissed from the pod. The hum intensified, vibrating through our bones. Ramirez coughed. It's alive, and it knows we're here. The pod's monitor displayed a recurring phrase. Subject 47. Do not wake. Then footsteps above, metallic, slow, deliberate, watching, waiting. Ivanov gestured. Investigate or retreat. Every second. We're part of its experiment. Beneath the steel, a deliberate thump echoed. 1, 2, 3. Something alive, or pretending to be, was waiting, and it had been awake long before us. The pod hissed again. Lights flickered. And just like that, part 1 ends, leaving the question. What is Subject 47, and why does it matter? The staircase ended in a narrow corridor, walls slick with condensation, pipes rattling above like the skeleton of a giant beast. Each breath hung in the air, thick and metallic, carrying the faint odor of ozone. The hum from the pod below followed us, growing louder, synchronized almost unnervingly with our own heartbeat. Keep your eyes open, Ivanov whispered, hand hovering over his weapon. Ramirez scanned the corridor with a handheld detector. The readings jumped erratically, spikes of energy pulsing like the pulse of a hidden machine, or a living organism. We reached a junction. The left tunnel descended further, deeper into darkness. The right led into a wider chamber, faint green light spilling from under a sealed door. Ivanov made a quick decision. We go left. If Aurora's secrets are here, they're deeper underground. Every step down the stairwell felt heavier, as if the bunker itself resisted our intrusion. Our boots echoed through the empty corridors. Shadows seemed to move independently of the flashlight beams, fleeting shapes vanishing the moment we turned our heads. A low vibration hummed through the concrete, faint at first, then unmistakable. The floor trembled slightly beneath our feet, a subtle rhythm that set our nerves on edge. Ramirez's whisper broke the tense silence. These readings, it's like the energy is alive. It's reacting to us. I glanced at Ivanov. His jaw was tight, eyes scanning every corner. Stay calm. Aurora wasn't abandoned. It was dormant. Something or someone kept it alive for decades. We pressed on, pipes dripped, the occasional spark arcing across frayed insulation. The hum shifted slightly, now moving from side to side, as if guiding or taunting us. Ahead, a steel hatch appeared, set into the wall at an odd angle. No markings, no warning signs, only the faint glow of something pulsing behind it. Ivanov tried the handle. Locked. Ramirez began scanning the panel. A faint series of numbers blinked. Coordinates, dates. The sequence repeated. 1986. 1986. 1986. The same year, the Chernobyl disaster occurred. A chill ran down my spine. Do you think it's connected? I asked quietly. Ivanov didn't answer immediately, only nodded toward the hatch. With a hiss, Ramirez activated the override. The hatch slid open, revealing a spiral staircase, narrower than before. Descending, the temperature dropped sharply. My breath came in rapid clouds, fogging goggles and visor. The hum intensified, vibrating through the bones of my hands as I gripped the railing. Something stirred beneath the floorboards, a rhythmic scraping, faint but deliberate. This isn't empty, Ramirez muttered. Something's alive, and it knows we're here. At the bottom, a massive chamber unfolded. Industrial scale, yet almost sterile. Catwalks crisscrossed above, shadowed by flickering lights. Equipment hummed faintly, wires snaking into the walls like veins. And then, the pods. Rows of them, cylindrical, opaque, lined up along the chamber. Each one pulsed with a dim green light, connected to machinery that seemed impossibly advanced for the era they were built in. One pod in particular drew my gaze. Unlike the others, it was active. Mist curled from vents, and inside, a humanoid figure lay suspended. At first, it seemed lifeless, but then, subtle movement. Eyelids twitching, fingers curling. A faint pulse, visible through the glass, synced with the hum that vibrated the room. Ivanov's voice was low, reverent. This is no ordinary experiment. Genetic manipulation, cybernetics. This could be a weaponized soldier, or something else entirely. We approached, cautiously. The pod hissed, releasing a faint fog. Ramirez coughed, stepping back, scanning readings that jumped wildly. It's aware. Not awake yet, but aware. Like it knows we're here. I trained the camera, capturing every detail. Frost patterns along the glass, tiny arcs of electricity in the mist, the pulse of the machine that seemed to breathe along with the pod. My gut told me Aurora wasn't a lab. It was alive. Then came the sound. Metallic footsteps above, echoing from the catwalk. Slow, deliberate, predatory. The figure in the pod stirred more aggressively, a low, almost mechanical groan escaping its throat. Ivanov signaled us to stay silent. We split. Ramirez, check the left side pods. I'll cover the right. Stay sharp. As we moved, something changed. The hum pulsed irregularly now, almost like a heartbeat with irregular rhythm, growing faster when we approached certain pods. Some of the pods remained dormant, but a few began faintly glowing. Sensors activating as if the entire room were waking. Ramirez froze, pointing at a pod at the far end. Look, it's moving inside. Subtle, but it's moving. I leaned closer. The figure's eyes opened, glowing faintly green. Not human, not fully. It blinked once, twice, and the green light reflected off the metallic floor. A deliberate motion, observation, calculation. Subject 47, Ivanov whispered. The name seemed to carry weight, reverence, and fear all at once. Do not wake. The warning was too late. The pod hissed, releasing more mist. The hum grew louder, synchronizing with the pulse of lights along the catwalks. We were no longer observers. We were participants. Intruders in a system that had been sleeping for decades. But never dead. A sound from behind. A metal scuff dragging across the floor. Something had moved among the dormant pods. Shadows danced on walls, shifting with unnatural precision. Ramirez raised the scanner again. The readings were off the charts. It's tracking us. I realized the truth. The energy wasn't random. It was directed, intelligent. Something in Aurora responded to movement, presence, intent. Each step we took, each breath, was feeding it. Then came the first active attack. Not a strike, not yet, but an awareness. One of the pods at the side hissed violently, releasing a short burst of ozone-scented fog. The figure inside flexed, muscle and synthetic material, moving together, mimicking human motion but faster, more precise. It lurched forward inside its pod, eyes glowing, calculating the intruders. Ivanov drew his sidearm, voice steady but tense. We can't just observe. We have to act, or we'll become part of the experiment. Suddenly, lights flickered violently. An alarm sounded, old circuitry awakening after decades. Pods along the walls began subtle, synchronized vibrations. Something massive, something deliberate, was stirring. From above, a metallic hiss. The catwalks groaned under weight. Shadows moved faster than our eyes could follow. We realized with dread. Subject 47 wasn't alone. This wasn't a singular experiment. It was a network. A dormant army of hybrid soldiers, awakened by our intrusion. I raised the camera, recording the chaos. Each flicker of light, each hiss, each pulse of the hum carried a terrifying message. The Cold War never ended. It just mutated. and we had stumbled straight into its heart. The corridor ahead split further, pipes and conduits twisting impossibly, as if the architecture itself resisted escape. Ivanov's eyes darted between paths. We need the control room. Logs. Any information about Aurora A, sudden metallic clatter behind us. One of the dormant pods jolted open. Something humanoid, something not, emerged. Muscles fused with metal, skin scarred, eyes glowing faintly. It moved with soldier-like precision. Not fast, but deliberate, calculated. A predator. Ramirez fired, bullets bouncing harmlessly off synthetic plating. Sparks flew. The figure recoiled, but only slightly, then vanished into shadow. I felt a knot in my stomach. We weren't in a lab anymore. We were inside a weapon, a living machine of war, perfected in secret decades ago, hidden beneath the wasteland. And yet, curiosity, dread, yes, but also obsession, kept us moving forward. Up ahead, the faint glow of a larger chamber beckoned. Control panels, monitors flickering with decades-old data, each log a whisper of secrets the world was never meant to see. Ivanov's voice was tight. This is it. The heart of Aurora. What we find here will change history, or end us. The hum pulsed faster. The chamber ahead was alive, aware, watching, waiting. We had crossed the point of no return. The control room loomed ahead, monitors flickering with decades-old data. Wires snaked across the floor like metallic veins, humming with life. Ivanov's hand rested on the console, scanning files marked Aurora Directive, Operational Integration, 1986. My fingers shook as I recorded every detail. Suddenly, a metallic clang echoed from the catwalk above. Shadows shifted, moving faster than our lights could catch. One of the hybrid soldiers, Subject 47, descended silently, eyes glowing crimson, every motion precise, calculated. Ramirez fired, bullets ricocheting off reinforced plating. Sparks flew, illuminating glimpses of other pods along the walls, each one stirring, awakening. They're waking up, Ramirez muttered, voice tight. The hum intensified, vibrating through the concrete like a heartbeat. The pods weren't just machines. They were living weapons, synchronized with some intelligence that had been dormant for decades. Ivanov barked orders. Split. We access the central logs and find a way to shut this down. I followed him, heart hammering. Every step felt amplified, each sound magnified. The corridor behind us erupted with movement, hybrids moving with uncanny precision, almost predicting our path. I glimpsed another pod releasing mist. Inside, a partially human figure twitched, muscles fused with metal, eyes scanning the room. The realization hit. Aurora wasn't a single experiment. It was a network, a hidden Cold War arsenal, capable of deploying super soldiers without a single shot ever being fired in public. Entire nations could have been destabilized decades ago. This was the war that never was. The central console flickered to life. Logs detailed genetic manipulation, cybernetic enhancement, covert missions, and a chilling phrase repeated, "Do not awaken until necessary." The countdown on one terminal read, T-minus 5 minutes. "We have to stop it," Ivanov shouted, typing furiously. Ramirez tried rerouting power to lock the pods, but sparks erupted, wires flaring. Each pod began hissing, releasing mist, glowing brighter. The hybrids moved faster, closing in from all sides. From the shadows, a voice crackled over the PA system. Synthetic, distorted, chillingly calm. Containment breached, all subjects active. Neutralize intruders. It wasn't a warning, it was a command, and we were the target. One hybrid soldier lunged from a pod, moving faster than the eye could follow. Ivanov fired. I dove, narrowly avoiding a deadly swipe. Sparks flew, Metal screamed against metal, and the corridor became a symphony of chaos. Ramirez found a service panel and yelled, "I can slow the activation if we hit this sequence." I moved to assist, fingers flying across the controls as the hybrids closed in, their glowing eyes tracking every movement. Suddenly, one pod cracked open, revealing another subject, half human, half machine, trained for war, but unseen for decades. The room pulsed with energy, the hum merging with the rapid beat of our own hearts. Ivanov looked at me, eyes wide. If we fail, Aurora won't just kill us. It will spread, global, unseen, unstoppable. We exchanged a grim nod. Every second counted. The hybrid's mechanical precision, the network's awakening, and the countdown were merging into a single horrifying truth. The war that never was had already begun, and we were in its epicenter. The service elevator groaned under our weight, descending into darkness as alarms blared throughout the bunker. Sparks rained from exposed wires, and the metallic hum of the hybrids echoed through the corridors like a predator stalking prey. Every heartbeat felt synchronized with the bunker itself. When the elevator doors finally opened, we emerged into a massive chamber, its ceiling lost in shadows. Pods lined the walls, some cracked, some still sealed. The hybrids moved with lethal precision, scanning, calculating, anticipating. Subject 47 led the others, a terrifying sentinel born of human ambition and secrecy. Ivanov whispered, "We can't stop them all. We have to survive and document this. The world can't know. Yet." Ramirez hacked into the terminal, trying desperately to trigger an emergency shutdown. Lights flickered violently, green mist rising from the pods. The countdown still ran, T-minus 2 minutes. Every second brought the network closer to global deployment. A sudden tremor shook the floor. The pods began to hum, releasing energy pulses that vibrated through the concrete. We ran, ducking under falling debris, dodging hybrid soldiers moving with unnatural speed. One lunged at me, and I narrowly avoided its strike, the clang of metal ringing in my ears. Finally, we reached the surface. Snowstorm raging, visibility almost zero. Beyond the barren wasteland, faint silhouettes moved, hidden bunkers activating, pods opening, subjects awakening. The scope was horrifying. Aurora was not contained. It was a network, lying dormant for decades, ready to turn the Cold War into a war that never ended. We paused, wind cutting through our jackets, hearts hammering. The metallic hum lingered on the horizon, faint but unstoppable. Ivanov's voice was quiet, tense. The war never ended. It just changed. And now, the world will never be the same. The wind carried a pulse, rhythmic and alive, like the heartbeat of an invisible army. And somewhere in the distance, another pod opened, sending a shockwave of energy through the wasteland. The war that never was had finally awakened.